Hey everybody, it's Beth from Yoga and Reiki Bliss. I wanted to pop in today really quickly with some movements to help relieve tension in the neck. One of my regular private clients asked me to remind her of some things she could do to help relieve neck tension after a day of being on the computer. And it just got me thinking, if she's having those issues, I know I do too, then you all must be. So why not just create a practice that we can utilize when we need a little movement snack, a little movement break. So this will focus on the neck, shoulders, upper back area. So you don't need a ton of things, a little bit of space. You could even do this seated. The only thing I might suggest is having a towel, so I can share with you a little resting pose in the way I organize my head to help relieve neck tension. So let's get started. Find a comfortable seat. I'm going to sit up on a block. You can sit in a chair or on the ground. And just take a moment to settle your hands on your thighs. See if you can bring your ribs right over your hips, right? So that instead of letting them be too far forward or too slumped back, they're as much over them. I look at my hip points and my ribs, and then I'm going to try to, from that, invite my ears, my earbuds, right over my shoulders. So you can see it's a little drop of the head to kind of counteract, or a little drop of the chin to counteract the forward head that we're all kind of moving into more and more as we use more and more computers and cell phones and things like that. So hands resting, shoulders over the ribs, head just slightly backed up, not overly aggressive. You can almost have a sense that you're lifting from the back of your skull. And we'll take a breath in. We'll take a breath out. And see if as you breathe, you can start to soften your jaw and soften your eyes. Even let the root of your tongue soften a little bit, if you can imagine that. And we'll start very simply by inviting the chin to soften toward the chest. Take a couple of breaths and just notice if your shoulders hike up, can your shoulders stay where they are? And notice what that feels like along the length of your neck and maybe even across your upper shoulders. Keep breathing nice and steady. And then when you inhale, slowly float your head back up. All right. Now let's take your right ear and drop it toward your right shoulder. And then from here, your left arm could stay or it could slip behind you, either resting on your hip, across your lower back to any degree. And then from here, start to make a few circles with that shoulder. So your left shoulder circling, I'm going back first, and then I'm going to reverse it and go forward. And once you get this, you can close your eyes, because even that, your eyes don't have to be seeking out anything, which for me always feels like as my eyes are looking, go ahead, let your shoulder rest. As my eyes are looking at something, it's almost like they're pulling my head forward. Let's take one more breath. Then breathe your head up and release your hand. Take a moment, let your neck be even. Just notice if that created any release along that side of your neck, top of your shoulder. And then we'll do the other side. We'll drop the left ear slowly to the left shoulder. Take your right arm across your back any degree. Close your eyes so your eyes aren't seeking anything out. And just notice the distance between your ear and your shoulder. And then make some shoulder circles with that right arm, right shoulder. And then circle in the other direction. Then let that circle pause and give yourself 1 or 2 more breaths. Slow, steady through the nose. Then go ahead and bring your head back up. Release your hand. Have a moment to notice. All right, let's take the right ear. Again, drop it towards your right shoulder. And you try to keep your face facing forward as much as you can. It might be interesting to notice if your head wants to rotate, right? That just might be just something to be aware of in terms of the health of your neck. And then see, to the degree that you can, we're going to turn the face to look up a little to the sky and breathe. Notice if you back out of that side bend, we'll try to stay in that side bend of the neck, not so much the shoulders here. So shoulders are still level. So you'll notice if your torso is starting to curve over. And when you feel a little release through, so we're targeting a little muscle here called the sternocleidomastoid, runs from the back of the ear to the sternum. So if you feel a little release coming out, otherwise maybe 1 or 2 or 3 more breaths. And then we'll turn the face to face forward again. Breathe your neck back up. Again, take a moment so you're not jumping right to the other side. Have a moment. And then we'll dip the left ear toward the left shoulder. Again, shoulders level, so you have it side bent to one side or the other. And then try to keep the side bend of your neck and turn your face up toward the sky a little bit. Breathe nice and steady. If things are really tight, you could always turn the face back to center, then gradually turn it back up. Come back to center, slow movements, right? Gradually turn your face back up. And just see with each repetition, do things loosen? So you could do this movement wherever you are. We're going to take maybe 1 to 3 more breaths. And then we'll turn the face to center, bring the head back up again. Have a moment just to notice things. Things are feeling better. Great. Go have your day. If you still need a little more work, you could check these out. This time we're going to do more of a rotational feel. So we're going to turn the head to peek over your right shoulder. Again, your chest, I'd love you to keep your chest facing forward. You can stop there, but this is the one I really enjoy. I'm going to look down toward the top of my right thigh. You can stay as you are, or you could take your opposite arm behind you. Sometimes that adds in a nice little extra oomph. And some folks also like to take the same hand, so in this case, my right hand, and just rest it lightly on top of the head, not actively pulling, just a little weight. Let's take one more slow, long breath in and out. And then we'll release your hand. Pick your chin up off your chest and turn your head forward. Release your arm. Have a moment. And that moment is a great time to breathe, to notice how your neck is responding. And then we'll turn the head to look over the other shoulder. Again, we'll try to keep the sternum facing forward. And then look down toward the top of your left thigh. So nothing else has to add. You can stay and breathe. Or you could take your right arm behind you like you did a few moments ago, to any degree across your low back. Or you could take your left hand on top of your head. Any or all of those options. Let's take one more full breath in and out. And then we'll pick the chin up off the chest, release your hands, turn your head back to center. Again, notice how things are. All right, now, so we did a lot around the neck. Now we're going to look a little more at the shoulders. So as one of my teachers described to me, right, if you think of taking off, like unscrewing the cap of a water bottle, you could unscrew the cap and keep the water bottle still, which is kind of what we were doing, moving our neck around. Or you could hold the cap and unscrew the bottle. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to focus now on the shoulders and more or less keep the neck and the head pretty stable. You are welcome to close your eyes at any point. From here, again, just let your hands rest nice and easy on your lap. Take a few little shoulder circles back. Again, nice and gentle. We don't want to aggravate anything. We're just trying to move things around, the shoulder blades around, arm bones around one more time. And then we're going to reverse that circle. Good, one last circle. Nice. Same idea. We're going to keep the head center. I'm just going to turn so you can see a little more fully this movement. You're going to hold one arm on top of the other. Doesn't matter which arm. I'm going to do my personal left over right because I often do my right over left when I do this. So I'm going to change it up. And I'm going to bring this right in front of my abdomen, like around belly button level. Again, the head's going to stay still. You're going to rock your arms to the right and to the left. Maybe 3 times. 3 right lefts, and then come back to center pause. Now take your arms up to about shoulder height, chest height. Same idea. Move your elbows to the right and to the left. Reset. Come back to center, rest your arms, have a breath. And we'll take the arms up as high as you can. So maybe forehead level or eye level. Same movement. Move your arms right and left with the elbow and the shoulder. And then we'll come back to the center. Relax your arms and just notice how your upper shoulder, middle back, low back, how all of that feels. And we'll stay with this rotational feel and come out onto your hands and your knees. Now, if you have a yoga block, you could have one just to have you could put one under your hand for a little more room away from the ground, but you don't need it. We're going to come into a tabletop. I'll do it without so you can see that you really don't need it, but it's sometimes nice to have a little extra space. So my knees are right under my hips, so I have a nice solid foundation. I'm going to walk my hands as wide as my shoulders are so the collarbones feel wide. I'm going to walk my hands a little forward so that my shoulder is right over the underside of my wrist, so it's not too far back and it's not way forward. And then from here, I'm going to think about the center of my skull, crown of my head pointing forward. So my eyes are actually looking a little more downward. And I'm gazing at an imaginary spot equidistant between my fingers and slightly ahead of my fingers. So imagine like the top point of a triangle. And that's where I'm gazing. So I want to have a feeling that the back of my skull is kind of backing up toward the ceiling. My chin is a little toward my throat. So from the side, instead of letting my chin get pulled down or lifted, trying to stay right in the middle. And then from here, I'm going to keep looking down. I'm going to place my right hand on my heart. You could also put it on your hip. So if one feels more organic to you, go for it. but I like it at the chest to remind me that's what I want to turn. So I'm going to keep looking downward, and I'm going to keep pushing my left hand into the ground, and then I'm going to turn my chest toward the right, to whatever degree I can, while I'm still looking down. And then I'm going to come back to the center. Again, push down, turn the chest, keep looking down, come on back. And one more time. And then we'll come back. So I'm really just trying to find a little rotation through the rib cage area, the thoracic spine. Because sometimes I found in my body, when that area I'm holding tight, it just sends tension, via, I think, the upper trap muscles up into my neck. So I'm just seeing if I can find a little bit of mobility there to create some ease around that neck. And now I'm going to switch. So my right hand stays in the ground. I'm going to push the ground away so I'm not sinking into that shoulder. Left hand to my heart. I'm going to keep looking downward and just turn my ribs to the left and come on back. Keep looking down, really commit to looking down as you turn your chest to the left. And maybe one more time. Come on back to center, return your hand. All right. And then have a little sit back again or stand. And let's take now the hands behind you, right? Especially if your arms have been out in front a lot during the day, this can be really nice. Give them a new position. Now, if your hands don't connect easily to each other, you can connect them with a towel, a strap of some sort, a scarf, sweatshirt, sleeve, something. Otherwise, we're going to interlace the fingers, draw the heels of the hands in the direction of each other, draw the shoulder blades towards each other and a little toward the waist. And again, nothing aggressive. Notice if that translated into you poking your chin forward. Gently drop the chin toward the throat. I'm just going to think of opening up the front of the chest and a few breaths here. Let's take one more. And then we'll release the hands. All right. There's lots of other things we can do, but my hope is that these are a few things that you can do pretty easily, without a ton of space needed. Now, the last thing that I have found to be the most beneficial for those days when I'm getting headaches, tension in the neck, is to take a towel. And this is just an old bath towel that I have. It's not very thick, which is part of the reason I like it. And I'm folding it in half and folding it in half again. So it's in this longish rectangle, something like that. Then I'm going to place it at one end of my mat, and I'm going to roll it up a few times. Now, the rolling up is really subjective. So I can't tell you how many rolls. It depends on how thick your towel is. It also depends on how much feels good under your neck. And so the key thing that I'd like to point out is that when you roll this under your neck, you're really kind of putting it, see where my hand is, more toward the underside of the skull, where the neck and the skull sort of meet. So it's not pressing into the very top of your neck spine or cervical spine, number 7. It's not, I guess, actually the very bottom of your cervical spine, number 7. It's not pressing in there. Kind of snuggled above that, up just under that occipital ridge. And when you lie back, I do want the back of your skull resting on the ground, so it's not floating up in the air. So here we go. And you could set a time about 5 minutes. We will not be staying here for 5 minutes. I'm just going to show you this. We'll stay a few breaths, maybe a minute, and then we'll come on out. And I'll show you the next thing that I like to do. This was from a chiropractor I used to work with, and I really enjoy it. So I wanted to share that with you because this is a go-to for me on a pretty regular basis. So this is enough thickness for my neck today, and my back of my head's on the ground. I'm going to keep my knees bent. So again, I've got support. So I'm not pulling on my body in any way. And I'm going to widen my feet, let my knees fall in, and I'm just going to rest my hands a place of comfort. So for me, it's on my abdomen. That feels very soft and easeful. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to consciously let my brow relax and release. If you had like a cloth, you could put it over your eyes to help remind your eyes to soften. If your shoulders don't mind it, you could even cup your hands over your eyes to create a little warmth. I may not do this for 5 minutes, but even for a few breaths can actually unhinge your jaw so that your teeth part, your lips soften. And just imagine all the muscles around your neck, your skull, your scalp softening. Imagine the shoulders softening. So really give in to receiving the support here of the blanket or the towel and the earth. Again, you might set a timer for 5 minutes to do this. I wouldn't do it for much longer than 5 minutes. And then just lift your head enough that you could slide the blanket out. And then with your fingers on either side of your cervical spine, start to rub from the top of the shoulders to the underside of, or the bottom side of the skull, like a wrench. And just see if those muscles have gotten a little looser, a little freer. Plus, it's a nice way to get a little blood flow into that area. It should feel like your curve of your neck is there, right? The curve of the neck is inward, like the low back. And for some of us, it can get a little flattened or wonky if we're tense and tight. And if we're in that forward head position, it can get distorted. And then I would just sit here maybe another 3 to 5 minutes. And then see how it goes. You can turn to one side when you're ready and come all the way up. Now, by no means, friends, do you have to do all of these. You might pick a few and try them because I know it all takes time. And by no means is this prescriptive in any way. So if you're continuing to have neck discomfort, you should definitely see your doc or a physical therapist. There might be something else that's going on. This is really just thinking about the tension that can creep in as we, living on computers a little bit more and more these days. All right. If this is helpful to you, if you like it, please feel free to share your comments or give it a thumbs up. If you know somebody who, would benefit from this, please feel free to share it. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube page, please do so. And certainly check out our website, thisisyourbliss.com, for more videos and practices, and even to join me online for weekly classes so that you keep your body mobile, strong, supple, and your brain feeling calm, quiet, organized. That's how I always feel from my yoga practice. Anyway, hope you all have a great day and I will look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.